Yerp, this perp back with another video, and I just got out of watching Dune. Now, for those that know, I have cracked jokes, many jokes about this movie just being nothing about sand. You know, this also is one of those movies that had a bunch of delays. We were supposed to see this sooner. But before I get into this review, hit that like button, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at perpminder420. With all that being said, yeah, man, this was interesting. And they do let you know that right off the bat that this is part one. This is going to be a two-part story. And man, did they give you a lot in part one as far as explaining this world, who like the House of Atreides is and stuff like that. And literally, to really break it down, this is like if you were to put Game of Thrones in space. You have this emperor, which I'm hoping that we see in part two. He kind of like governs all these different houses and stuff like that. We have our main character, Paul. Paul is a really interesting character. I'm drawing the blank on the actor's name. I think it's like Timothy Chimel or something like that. Interesting pick for him. I like Paul's character so far because you could say they didn't give him a lot to do in this. It was a lot of just, following other characters, but we do get to see him in action, like where he is skill-wise, and he definitely is dope hand to hand. He also has some other abilities that come from his mother, and that whole part, that whole side of his family, like his mother's side, is very interesting to me. It's very mysterious, and it kind of like deals with like the mystical type of thing. They do some really interesting things with that power as far as like how you can command somebody to do something. It's sort of like the Jedi mind trick, but I think this one is a little bit better, and it just sounds cooler, no pun intended. But this whole world is very vast, and I feel like for somebody like me that knows nothing about Dune, it was kind of a lot to take in. I definitely feel like I have to watch this movie for a second time to kind of really digest everything. So you have Paul's House Atreides. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's gonna take me some time to get used to that stuff. And you have these other houses, and they're all fighting for power. There's this product called spice. It's pretty much like a drug, and it kind of runs the universe. Without it, you're pretty much going to die off, and it's not going to be looking good for you. And there's a lot of betrayal, a lot of dope mythology throughout this whole entire first movie. Like, we get introduced to the Furman. I want to kind of see where that goes, considering how this movie ended. There's just so much to talk about in this movie that I can't really say that I could process it all. All I could say is just I really enjoyed watching this movie. I liked how all these characters got fleshed out. We know where everybody kind of sits, and we could possibly see more characters or newer characters in part two that we haven't seen, because I think there's a lot more at play. They definitely are setting up for this big epic battle that's gonna go down. It's most likely going to have to do with Paul and just everybody. And it's interesting that like his family gets sent to this planet, because this planet has all this resources and stuff like that, and everybody's trying to fight for control of it. You have the native people there, the Freemen, and it's just very fascinating, just the build up to all of this. And it literally, this part one was very much a tease to what's to come. I think part two is going to be a lot bigger in scope. This just kind of gives us a little bit what we can expect. There are stakes in this, and I really like how they display them. Like, characters do die and they stay dead, so that's really dope. It very much feels like a Star Wars movie as far as like the aesthetic, like the desert planet and the tech that they use is really cool because it feels, you could tell that it's sci-fi, but it feels grounded. Like, this is some technology that we could come up with 2,000 years from now or something like that. But overall, I think this is a really dope watch. I definitely want to watch it again. I'm looking forward to part 2 to see where the story goes from here. Overall, I dig the setup, like introducing us to House Atreides and, you know, Paul and all of his family. His father, Oscar Isaac, he did a dope job in this. I kind of want to see where Paul's mom goes in all this, because I feel like she's up to something. I don't know. I don't really like fully trust her. Even Oscar Isaac's character kind of like looked at her a little sus. So there's a lot of dope things at play. The main villain, the Baron, really dope, very menacing. You don't see a lot of him, but he makes his presence known. Batista's character, you really don't see at all in this movie, and I feel like they're saving that for part 2. Same thing with Zendaya, because she opens up talking about her planet and stuff, and I'm kind of glad that we don't get too much Zendaya, because I'll be honest, I don't get the hype about Zendaya. Yes, she's beautiful, but when it comes to her performance in a lot of movies, she's pretty basic. She's pretty one-dimensional. Maybe there's more to her character when we see that in part 2, but right now it's just like I could care less if we see more or less of her. Either way, I'm cool. That's just me. I know a lot of people like Zendaya, but me, it's just like, meh, whatever. Let me know how you guys feel about this movie, if you've checked it out, or if you have plans of checking it out. Let me know in the comments below. I don't want to go too long with this, so I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.